When I went to go click the camera, this is photo booth, I accidentally clicked the calculator instead. Somehow I got those mixed up. Anyways, I'm a mess. So I got a question to answer from Doom Guy. His question is, how would an INTP communicate with others in a social activity? However, there is no question mark. But that's okay. There's enough grace to pass around. Look at this. I'm at my job workplace. Normally there would be a couple of people sitting over there. But they left me early. And so now I'm going to entertain myself by making a video. Because I'm trying to download footage, hunting footage and stuff for my boss. Anyway, to the question. How would an INTP communicate in a social setting? It really depends, actually. So if like for me, then just trying to give different examples, when I go maybe to a family gathering, I am interested in like how people are connected. I'm connected to this person, so I want to kind of learn more about them and see if I relate to any of their odd natures, if any at all. Whether it doesn't have to be just like how I think, but it can be any physical representation. Because like my uncle, for instance, he's like really fast. He has like really fast reflexes, and I got some of those from him, and so it was really nice to be able to see where that came from and whatnot. But because also I am an older child, so I wonder. I don't know if I've actually met an INTP younger child. I think I've met a middle child once, but that's just going to see how like the people are naturally like how I naturally like to go to the older people and talk with them. But I also love talking with the kids too, and like my cousins and whatnot. And my INTP cousin, she is fantastic and a goofball. But we'll hang out, talk. I try to kind of fit in because this is family, so this must mean something, right? And I don't see them very often, so I guess it's kind of more of a big moment. However, though, funny tensions. I don't like it when you go to any kind of social gathering, but specifically like with families and stuff. There's like this weird tension, or just people start to change who they really are. So like with my parents, all of a sudden hanging out with their or like my dad's hanging out with his parents and realizing or just watching my dad shift from what he normally is to another kind of person. So I guess that's not really communicating, but it's me watching people start to change and morph into a different person that I'm not used to. I'm like, wait a minute, what's happening? And just like watching the dynamics change and whatnot. And if with people that I don't know, like a social activity of, I find myself heightening my intellect. I like to try to be a little bit more critical and less vulnerable. Because I want to feel like I guess anybody, unless they thrive in those kind of circumstances, I want to not be seen as vulnerable. I want to gain control over myself. I tried to work on that, but still, like the first, like especially week of school, I'm always like expressing a certain kind of person that I'm not really, and it's just like at the end of the week, I'm like, what in the world? Why am I acting this way? Sometimes I purposely act psychotic. Not really psychotic, but I'm like babbling different words in different languages and like making myself weird, or at the same time trying to hyper like seem intelligent and like, oh wow, he must be an IQ of 100 million or something. It's like I'm trying to establish myself as someone smart and someone that's like mysterious and whatnot, and it's stupid. And I try to get away from that. Just be like, hey, people just want you to be friendly, open, vulnerable, and just talk with them. You don't need to like try to be all INTP like. Use your INTP-ness later. And or like more of a like intimate setting, I do find myself shut down. I'm not very communicative and open to talk to people, especially people I don't know. If I haven't seen them in a while, I do like try to jump start it, and if I have fond memories of them, I might try to work on the communication a little bit more. I do feel like I try to carry the conversation a lot, and like on one-on-one, I am a lot better on one-on-one. But once there's like this group dynamic that starts to happen, and if anyone in the group is already familiar with the other person, that's a bond that's really hard for me to be a part of unless I'm actually a part of that bond. And so I'm a lot better when I'm talking to one person and just, getting to know them, ask them questions, get them to talk about themselves, and I share a couple things about myself or whatever. But once there's that group that starts to happen, and if anyone starts to already have that connection, like, oh yeah, I know this guy or whatever, I immediately start to kind of pull back, or I don't know how to bring myself and be a part of their groups that are a little bit more succinct with each other. So I'll pull back there. I like to be, man, because you say, how does an INTP communicate with others in a social setting? The problem is this question doesn't really exist. I mean, okay, it does. But like, I find myself being more observant and wanting to observe how people relate to each other and act. And I kind of like imagine myself communicating with people more than actually communicating with them. So, but like I said, like one-on-one, I find myself communicating better and just like asking questions, finding any connection that I might have with this person that might relate in some way to get them talking. Family stuff, again, there's a little bit more motivation there, especially if I'm kind of excited to see people because I haven't seen them in so long. But any social activity, if I know, like, let's say I'm completely comfortable with everyone in the room and I'm actually a part of the group and not outside of it, I am crazy. And probably a little too crazy, but I just kind of let everything out and become very animated and exciting and fun. And it's wonderful. And I can just do whatever I wish, really, because everyone kind of, oh, that's Eric, he's weird. So it's all cool now somehow. But it's still not communicating. Like, communicating is really hard for me to do on a social activity kind of thing, because I always find myself wanting to become the more intellectual one, and I want people to assume me as so bright and amazing. The cat's out of the bag now. Now you know my insecurities. But that's kind of like what I always try to build myself up as in communication. But normally I don't, in, like you said, an activity or whatever, social activity, I normally don't actually communicate in social activities. I communicate in these more intimate realms. And when we're in a social activity, I find myself acting out and just either doing my own thing or just kind of being silly or something, but I'm not really communicating with someone, unless sometimes I might hook up with somebody on the side and we start kind of talking and whatnot. But as a whole, unless I'm really comfortable with everybody, I don't really talk. And you probably have noticed by and I have an email, by how I talked about them, or about social communication. But this other INTP, actually, that's where Josiah, he sits over there. That's where I showed you, I guess. He sits that's not good. I just dropped I'll have to get that later. He sits over there, right there. And he does participate a little bit better. He knows how to kind of be a social chameleon. I did when I was younger, but I got so, I don't know, annoyed with certain kinds of people groups where I just don't want to pretend to be this suave guy. Be like, that little chin thing that people do real fast, and they're like, yeah, what's up, guy? What's up? What's up? I'm just, like, I try to do that in high school, and I try to be all like, just cool and suave and cool, nothing man, because like I've been fighting this battle in my head, because really, this is me. But that, me expressing that outside myself normally isn't really acceptable, or not acceptable. It's just people don't know what to do with it normally. And so, but he still is in that suave stage and like trying to, bring people, or like connect with people, I guess. And there's just certain people groups I just know that I'm like, unless we get to a certain point, like we pass through a certain kind of wormhole of existence to have to bond or connect, it's not that I hate them, it's not that I don't like them, it's just, in order for me to truly connect with them, I need to be a certain kind of person I really don't like, and it doesn't really bring out the best in me either. And so I just kind of go, whatever, and just move on, do whatever I want. So hopefully that answers your question, Doom Guy. It's kind of a really packed question, I guess. There's more that implies from it. So anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of your day while I sit here working working. What? My computer's working. I get paid for it. It's great. Anyways, you guys have a great day. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I will try to get to them. And as always, I will see you in the next video or another life. Oh, sorry. I said it wrong. Oh, I said my own outro wrong. I'll see you in another video or another life. You never know.